Tonight, mounting concerns for the controversial alcalde of Indian Creek Village. He was the one issuing those communal right land titles, and tonight his people say he's been abducted. You'll hear his chilling distress message. And Friday's big drug bust, a major success for law enforcement. But tonight, we'll look at the lingering questions. Also, Belize's retired energy workers picket their former headquarters. We'll take you to the front line. Plus, Minister Henry Charles says the police ministry should have consulted with Kekauke residents before planning anything with their police station. We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight, Tuesday, April 14th, 2026. Good evening. With your news, I'm Indra Craig.
This newscast is brought to you by Cellular World, your authorized Samsung distributor.
Shop smart for your Samsung devices in Belize and enjoy benefits you won't get anywhere else. When you shop locally for your Samsung, all your devices will be covered by a 1-year local warranty. You won't get that when shopping with the other guys. When in doubt, always look for the Cellular World seal to know you're getting the real deal. Shop with confidence and enjoy your Galaxy knowing that it can be repaired locally at our Samsung Service Center by certified Samsung technicians using original parts and machinery. Even better, enjoy the best LTE experience in Belize, knowing that your Samsung devices are compatible with major local carrier networks. Get the ultimate Samsung Galaxy experience only when you shop from authorized Samsung resellers nationwide.
The NEBL season is shaping up to have a monster finish. And this weekend, it's the rematch revenge weekend on Friday night in Orange Walk at the Sporting Complex. The red-hot Belize City Defenders is coming for revenge against the bad boys from the north, the Orange Walk Running Rebels. After that beatdown on opening night, then on Saturday night, the Corozal Spartans seek revenge against the Belma Pan Trojans and get their first win at the Anjo Campos Stadium. And in Cayo, the Cayo Gunners, the Western Ballers, awaits the number 1 team in the league, the San Pedro Tiger Sharks, in an all-out war as they seek revenge from their opening night loss at the Victor Galvez Stadium. Giveaways at all games, the NEBL Girls hosted by DJ Dollar and the National Sports Council, $5,000 halftime shooting challenge. So this weekend, make it an NEBL rematch revenge weekend, sponsored by the Government of Belize.
Hi, I'm Ava.
And I'm Aiden. We're your AI guides to all things NHI.
In this video, we will guide you on how to become an NHI member. You, and if you have a child, must have a Social Security card. To get an SSB card is easy. Visit socialsecurity.org.bz/card-replacement to view the required documents that are needed.
There is a fee of only $5 Belize dollars for a first-time issue and $26 Belize dollars for a replacement card. Newborns can use their mother's SSB card for up to 2 months.
With your SSB card, you and all family members can register at any NHI contracted clinic of your choice.
You and members of your family can now access health care when needed.
Please note that once you are registered with a clinic, you must go to that same clinic when you need medical care. Look out for more NHI guides like this.
I didn't know anything about honey or bees. I was really awed when I opened the hive box and I saw there was just not bees. There is wax, there is propolis, there is pollen, there is the entire education of what is going on inside the hive. And I was like, how come nobody in Belize have ever done this before?
The farm produces 75% of what we consume. We were introduced to instant coffee, so we're growing our own food, but we're drinking instant coffee. So I said, It's time to introduce our own coffee as part of our food security.
My brother, he used to work at a butterfly farm, and he was in charge of breeding them. One day, when he was in the butterfly cage, he saw that they die naturally, and they still look beautiful. And that is when he got the idea to make the butterfly art collages.
I used to do cakes from home. I started just giving them away, but I needed to buy my stuff back, and I started selling them. So that's what started it, and I used Facebook as my means of advertisement and started getting customers.
I've always been fascinated with gemstones. It's been something that I've been collecting for more than a decade. It's just the fascination of how they come out from the earth, just different minerals and elements that combine. They just form these beautiful colors, and it's so fascinating.
Noctria Adventure Park came about from the birth of COVID. Everything was shut down in the tourism industry, and we decided, I want to do something to help the community. We got 10 bikes, 10 ATVs, and we were just doing just ATV tours at that time. Shortly after, we were approached by the cruise lines. We agreed to work with them, and from then it just started growing.
The adjacent communities have collaborated together to see how they can get a space here that the wood carvers could actually market and sell their product. My husband is a woodworker. He attended the meeting. He was given a space here, and that's how basically I got involved in the business.
To me, Atlantic Bank was the best partner for us to team up with.
Having access to financing, change our business in productivity.
Once I had Atlantic Bank support with the finances, it was smooth sailing from there.
They saw the vision and they were willing to be patient.
Atlantic Bank's e-commerce system has accelerated the growth for my business.
Now I can make payments and receive payments online, and this has made my job much easier.
I don't have to run to town and use fuel and the other expenses.
They were willing to be patient with us as we grew our business, and that meant the world.
I sit and sip my good cup of coffee and do payments.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Nando's Wholesale is the distributor for the full line of Badia spices, including the original complete seasoning, the perfect combination of ingredients and spices prepared to enhance the natural flavor of your favorite foods. Also, cinnamon powder for all your desserts, fruits, and beverages, and as special dishes. All these are available in commercial sizes or restaurant packaging. Nando's products are available at your local retailer or contact us at 222-5000. From Corozal to Toledo, Nando's is proud to be serving Belize as its #1 wholesale distributor for over 35 years.
This newscast is brought to you by Cellular World, your authorized Samsung distributor.
Shop smart for your Samsung devices in Belize and enjoy benefits you won't get anywhere else. When you shop locally for your Samsung, all your devices will be covered by a 1-year local warranty. You won't get that when shopping with the other guys. When in doubt, always look for the Cellular World seal to know you're getting the real deal. Shop with confidence and enjoy your Galaxy knowing that it can be repaired locally at our Samsung Service Center by certified Samsung technicians using original parts and machinery. Even better, enjoy the best LTE experience in Belize, knowing that your Samsung devices are compatible with major local carrier networks. Get the ultimate Samsung Galaxy experience only when you shop from authorized Samsung resellers nationwide.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Tonight, the area rep for Fort George is standing with Keokauka Village Council, who protested again today with a picketing procession around the downtown area of the island. As we have been reporting, they claim that the work to renew their village police station has been halted because the plan has changed. And the idea now is for government to sell the beachfront property which the police station sits on and build the station in another area. Usher says the duly elected council should have been consulted.
Well, I certainly agree that there was a lack of communication in the beginning, that I do believe that the duly elected village council should have been consulted. There should have been a meeting to discuss the plans. I don't necessarily think that it's a bad idea what is happening. I think that the police station will be built. Whether it is built there or built somewhere else, the island will be getting a modern police station. Now, if you want to look at other amenities at the island that the residents of Kikaka are looking at, as I've heard that is speaking about a welcome center or something to that effect, then certainly that discussion has to happen. But where the police station is built is less important than the fact that it's going to be built. And I think that that is important. But in the beginning, that information should have been communicated and there should have been a proper dialogue with the relevant authorities out there.
And Usher also weighed in on the recent uproar with the Ministry of Health requiring prescriptions for certain over-the-counter drugs, including contraceptives. Usher says that, as a man, it is not his place to comment on that decision, but he does believe more consultation was needed before the ministry made the decision.
When it comes to reproductive rights, I don't think any man is in a position to be able to comment on that. We play a very small, minor role when it comes to the reproductive process. So I will be guided by what the women of this country are saying, and that is my only thing I can say about that. Generally, I've seen the complaints online, and again, going back, I think that there could have been better communication. I think that there could have been more consultation on this matter before it is being implemented. I know that from the Ministry of Health's perspective, it's something that they have been working on to try to get more of the laws that affect pharmaceuticals implemented. But I do think that there are too many areas that pharmaceuticals it's too open, it's too broad. But in this particular area, I have no expertise and I cannot comment on that.
It's been over 24 hours since Indian Creek Village alcalde Marcos Canty was reported missing. Canty was last seen around 3:20 yesterday afternoon at his milpa, but by 3:42, the villagers received a disturbing voice message that indicated he had been harmed. In the message, he says he needs help in Quete. Search parties were immediately deployed, but tonight there has still been no trace of him. But with his disappearance, there is further tension in an already divided village. Canty was the alcalde defiantly issuing those communal rights land titles, much to the consternation of government and the private landowners. Because of that, his loved ones suspect that restive land issues made even more contentious by the government's delay in implementation of the CCJ consent order have now culminated in an extreme act of violence. Now multiple villagers are on the hunt for Canty with no idea if he is dead or alive. Courtney Menzies traveled south today and has this story.
Village police.
This is the last message that the villagers of Indian Creek received from their alcalde, Marcos Canty, at 3:42 yesterday evening. Since then, they haven't been able to find him, and they believe the worst has happened.
We have a very strong suspicion that Mr. Canty was kidnapped and that he is being tortured. Our primary objective and our goal today is the preservation of life. We are deeply concerned, the community is deeply concerned that their alcalde, their traditional leader, is missing, has been missing since about 4 p.m. yesterday afternoon. The community is tirelessly searching for him. They searched all night. They are tired. They continue to search today. They're trying to take advantage of the daylight time to maximize the amount of area that they can cover.
Kok, who was also acting as a spokesperson on behalf of the village, explained that Canty was at his milpa before he went missing. They later found his bicycle, his kuksal, his scabbard, and his machete. And while the villagers were out searching from last night, today they got support from the BDF and the police department. However, according to Kok, it wasn't easy to get their assistance. In fact, she told us that the milpa was not processed by the police until this morning, after a night of rain. But still, she believes their presence is vital to the search.
I want to also say here that we appreciate the support of the Belize Defense Force. They came today. We would have liked that this search and that this support arrived earlier yesterday during the day, right when it was reported to the authorities. There was a lot of reluctance to come and support the community. I want to put that on the record. I want to say that I'm happy that with the insistence of the community, the authorities have now arrived and have now joined the search parties. The police is here, the BDF are here, because we don't want to be accused of damaging anybody's property.
This precaution, along with this request by the BDF.
I want you to focus on the life of the alcalde at this pinnacle of time. Anything else, I ask of you, reserve your energy, reserve your temper, pump all of that. Let's try find the alcalde.
Follows reports that the villagers had lit a fire in the village and were threatening to burn down the Yakche field station in Golden Stream. But Koch believes that it is counterproductive.
I want to say that it does not help when there's a lot of speculation, there's a lot of misrepresentation on social media, including some media houses who have not helped to de-escalate the tension. This is a very sensitive matter. This is a matter of life and death. And I want to encourage all of Belize to understand that these conflicts are not isolated, that this is a historical conflict of interest. There's a competing interest on the customary lands of Indian Creek. And the state has failed to resolve this issue in due time and in due process. I hope and I call upon the state to not fail Indian Creek one more time. The state needs to establish and needs to investigate what has happened with our alcalde. If they have the evidence of those threats, they should come forward with it. That is what I would say. Because it's not just about saying so and so has happened. It is about showing with evidence that something has happened. We have shown with evidence that the missing alcalde is under distress. We know, we heard the audio. That is the kind of evidence that we want. If you make those allegations, you have to come right with your evidence.
But regardless of those reports, Kante remains missing and his wife under distress. But residents of surrounding villages have joined the search, which has extended past Indian Creek. For now, all they can do is wait and hope.
We have had many other village leaders in this search effort. Neighboring communities, San Marcos, Medina Bank, Golden Stream, all the way. Many of our alcaldes and chairpersons have joined us in this search, and they are looking all over. Any feeder road, any place that the body might have been dumped. We don't know. We can't speculate. We don't know. We are hoping for the best, and we're hoping that life has been preserved and that we will find this alcalde alive.
Courtney Menzies, 7 News.
The tension in this village began escalating over the Easter holiday when Kante began distributing land near the Bowden Creek area that he had apparently subdivided. We also told you that he had received a cease and desist letter on behalf of Yakshe Conservation Trust, which manages the land, as well as the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs. However, this issue did not spring up out of nowhere. For the past few years, Indian Creek has been in the news since this land, which was privately owned pre-independence, had been transferred to Yakshe in 2018. Koch explained that by her interpretation, this transfer went against the CCJ order. And she added that since then, division began to grow in what was once a peaceful village.
It was not until a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago, when this area was taken over, management was taken over by a conservation organization, Yakshe Conservation Trust. They hired rangers. They hired rangers that are from this village, and this caused a lot of tension because the rangers were patrolling the area and were confiscating building materials and other things from the villagers as they continued to use the land. This tension has escalated. We have documented, this is not an isolated incident. We have documented over the last few years many incidents of conflict in this village. We have reported this to the Caribbean Court of Justice through the authority that was positioned there. We have reported it to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. We have reported it to the police and to the various ministries that are responsible to oversee the affairs of indigenous peoples. This delay of justice, this delay of implementation, this delay of delineation of lands, customary lands for the community, not just of Indian Creek, but of all the Maya villages, is what has caused the environment for such tension to increase. Failure to implement, failure to support the alcaldes in the delimitation of their lands, failure to put forward a robust law that would protect their rights, that would affirm their rights. The Maya people are not interested. They're not interested in trampling anybody else's rights. Private landowners have rights. We acknowledge that. Maya villages have rights. The rest of Belize needs to acknowledge that. The state needs to double its effort to resolve competing interests. And nobody's constitutional rights should be violated, not the private landowner and not the Maya village. But effectively, when you don't do anything, then you allow for the enabling conditions for tensions like this to arise.
Regarding that, the land near Boarding Creek, all historical context considered, the land certificates, what would you say to the land certificates that were issued according to the laws of Belize? Those aren't legitimate.
The land certificate, I understand from previous interviews from the Yashe Conservation Trust Director, was that the transfer happened in 2018 to the Yashe. That is a land transfer that, as far as I'm concerned, violates the 2015 paragraph 4 consent order, which says that the government should not facilitate, should cease and desist from facilitating any other land transfers, land sales to any interested party, either on behalf of the government or on behalf of a third party. That is of concern to me. The community continues to use their land customarily. They hunt, they gather, they fish all in that area. They use the river. We have said this time and time again. The community, obviously, they are growing, they are young people, they need residential areas. They have customarily distributed residential areas. Both the village council and the alcaldes have done that in the past. But over the last 4 years, as you know, this is not new. There has been the implant of division in this community. And by implanting division, you have then two parties pulling each other apart. And that is effectively the divide and conquer that we see all over the world. So this issuing of land for residential area is not new. That is a customary practice. That is the use, the customary use that is protected by the Caribbean Court of Justice consent order, the affirmation of their rights, that their long-standing use and occupation affords them that right to continue to live on this land.
As we understand it, Yaksha's position is that their goal is not to take over the land, but to ensure that it is sustainably managed, and they're inviting collaboration from the community to do so. We'll keep following this story. And today, the Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs expressed his concerns for the alcalde's well-being, but also noted that the entire push to regularize communal land rights is at a pivotal juncture. Tensions are extremely high, and that area around Indian Creek is very volatile. He urged all parties to take what he called a path to peace.
Now, this is a matter for the police, where we have some, we have the alcalde missing, and we are hopeful that it would be resolved in a positive way, but we don't know how that will turn out as yet. No, we can only hope that he's found alive and not harmed, but that is going to unfold in the coming hours and hopefully sooner rather than later. Of course, it is very unfortunate to have that situation escalate to that point, if it is that this is related to the situation of contention between the two groups in the village. The police were in the village last night. And all the reports we got was that included that the village council chairman's home was visited by opposing members of the village, and that the Yakshe facility was also assaulted, if you will, by some angry villagers in the wee hours of this morning. Presently, we understand that the police have taken the second alcalde and the chairman of the village to Punta Gorda for safety purposes, as we were informed, and that the tensions are still quite high. Let us work through this peacefully. We're one country, one Belize, and they are villagers. They live next to each other. They're family. So especially on the ground there, that let us work this.
And we take our first break now. When we come back, Friday's big drug bust, a major score for law enforcement. But tonight, some questions left unanswered. We'll look at them. Don't go away.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Mornings with the kids are always busy, but having the space we need makes life easier. With the Jack T8, we have the comfort, reliability, and space we need. With fully breathable leather seats, 6-speed manual transmission, 9-inch LCD screen with Apple CarPlay and Android. 4-cylinder, fully turbo diesel, and space for my entire family. We can count on Jack to get us there safely and comfortably.
Here are some interesting facts. Did you know the National ID is a unique number that connects your record across ministries? Trusted proof of identity. A tool to access public service faster. A gateway to digital government services. And a way to eliminate online fraud and identity theft.
The Belize National ID.
Champion security, champion security, champion security. Yeah, yeah. Your security is our business, so we gonna protect you like a champion, like a champion.
Guess what, Mr. Handsome? Yeah, over there, champion security. This is the place to be. What does sign say? Champion Security. Here at Champion Security, we provide quality service. You know why? Such as triology lock, fire alarm, IP camera system, gate operator, biometric lock, and alarm system. Champion Security. Make a go check out where they go on inside of Champion Security. And boy, nice to meet you, my brother. Yes. Tell me a little bit more about Champion Security.
Well, welcome, Mr. Hanson. Here at Champion Security, we offer fire system, alarm system, camera system, gate operator, access control, and also trilogy locks and magnetic locks. Everything you need to do with security systems for residential and businesses, you could find everything here at Champion Security. We also consist of 12 technicians, and we offer technical support 24 hours. So anything you need for your security systems, you could find everything here at Champion Security.
Remember, guys, here at Champion Security, we live by our motto, where safety is our business. Give us a call now. Don't forget to check us on Facebook, Instagram, and all the social media platforms. And continue to shake it to the max all the way. Champion Security, the best place to be. We care for your safety.
You want to rent it? That's not a problem. We got remote gate.
As a small business, I started to attend pop-up shops like many other businesses, and we found that our customers wanted to pay by card and not cash. I went to Atlantic Bank, and immediately, without a problem, it's like, yes, you can have a POS system. That POS system we now use in-house, and we can also take it countrywide wherever we are. They were willing to take the time. They were willing to be patient with us as we grew our business. And that, for us, that meant the world.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
The NEBL season is shaping up to have a monster finish. And this weekend, it's the rematch revenge weekend. On Friday night in Orange Walk at the Sporting Complex, the red-hot Belize City Defenders is coming for revenge against the bad boys from the north, the Orange Walk Running Rebels. After that beatdown on opening night, then on Saturday night, the Corozal Spartans seek revenge against the Belma Pan Trojans and get their first win at the Anjo Campos Stadium. And in Cayo, the Cayo Gunners, the Western Ballers, awaits the number one team in the league, the San Pedro Tiger Sharks, in an all-out war as they seek revenge from their opening night loss at the Victor Galvez Stadium. Giveaways at all games, the NEBL Girls hosted by DJ Dollar and the National Sports Council $5,000 halftime shooting challenge. So this weekend, make it an NEBL rematch revenge weekend, sponsored by the government of Belize.
Nokche Adventure Park came about from the birth of COVID. Everything was on pause for tourism. So we decided, let's do something different. We got 10 bikes, 10 ATVs, and we were just doing ATV tours. Shortly after, we were approached by the cruise lines. We agreed to work with them, and from them, it just started growing. We set up the chocolate tour first, and then from there, we went into the culinary experience with the different Mayan cultures. We have like the gift shop, the cooking class, the shaman, and the healing, and it just all came together. When you reach a certain point, you need investors, you need partners to come into your business. Atlantic Bank just make it easy. Even my 7-year-old could do it.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Welcome to the V Department Store. We are conveniently located on Coney Drive in Belize City. That's right on Coney Drive in Belize City. At the V Department Store, we offer a wide variety of groceries, cosmetics, kitchen appliances, kitchenware, electronics, and more. We've also recently expanded to the second floor to better meet your household and office furniture needs. We now have a wide variety of furniture, home decor, and accessories. We have a shared vision for a comfortable and customer-friendly shopping experience. Visit us today and be warmly greeted by our reasonable prices and cordial staff. The V Department Store. Experience the ultimate shopping destination.
Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Friday's 1,215-pound cocaine seizure has already gone down as one of the most successful law enforcement operations in recent memory. Tonight, we look in detail at what was disclosed at yesterday's press conference and what wasn't. Jaleesa Roberts made some observations and files this report.
The story of the capture of the Cessna drug plane began on Friday morning when law enforcement got a tip that a suspected drug plane was incoming.
The operation began approximately 10:36 a.m. when the United States Interagency Task Force South detected an unidentified aircraft over the Pacific Ocean southwest of San Jose, Costa Rica. 4 minutes later, the aircraft was declared an air track of interest.
3 hours later, 3 customs officers on an enforcement patrol for contraband found this Chevy Tahoe near the sea in Newland, Curzon district. They found it with fuel, a satellite phone, and a firearm. 3 known elements accompanying any drug plane landing. There were 9 20-liter canisters of blue aviation fuel, the type used by piston engine planes, just like the one that landed.
At approximately 1:50 p.m., a custom enforcement team operating in Newland Village, Corozal District, encountered a SUV parked near the coastline. The vehicle was occupied by 2 Belizean nationals and 1 Mexican national. And inside the vehicle, officers discovered 9 canisters of suspected aviation fuel, a firearm, and a satellite phone. These were clear indicators that the Newland Village was the intended landing site of the aircraft.
But for reasons still undisclosed, the top cop and the staff officer says Customs had to retreat.
As I have indicated, it was Custom Enforcement team that made the interception, and given the circumstances that was at hand at the time, which I will not get into the specifics, it was prudent for the custom officers to withdraw.
Commissioner indicated that the burning did not occur by law enforcement officials, Mr. Lopez. Suppose the burning was conducted.
Certain things happened on the ground that required them to retreat. They then retreat, and we send additional support from the security forces. When they returned, the vehicle was on fire.
They still won't say what happened to force the retreat or who lit up the vehicle. They just know it wasn't them.
As it relates to the narrative that it was law enforcement that burnt the SUV that contained the suspected aviation, that is not so.
And even though it would appear that all the evidence went up in smoke, police claim otherwise.
The important thing is that the vehicle was processed in terms of the fact that scenes of crime technicians would have processed it and retrieved items of evidential value. Photographs were taken and further processing will be conducted. Indeed, it would have been ideal to have all of those items, but we are of the view that notwithstanding that the items in terms of the aviation fluid was destroyed, it will not detract from us being able to put forward some evidential material in the intended prosecution.
But regardless of what happened with the burned vehicle, Belize's law enforcement operation was now in play, with a likely location for landing in Newland, provided by the Customs Discovery. But if their local counterparts had been intercepted, wouldn't that send a signal to the plane that it could not land in Belize? Apparently, that line of communication had been cut off.
There were certain communication devices that I believe did not allow the pilots to communicate to the individual on the ground. And I will leave it as that.
And with that, the play was set. It was just a matter of waiting and watching.
Over the next few hours, the aircraft moved northwards, changing direction multiple times towards El Salvador, then Nicaragua, and then Honduras. By 2:40 p.m., the aircraft was estimated to be just over 1 hour from entering Belize airspace. By this time, the operational focus had already been mobilized and strategically deployed in Newland. At 5:03 p.m., airspace clearance was granted and the Belize Defense Force deployed their air asset. At 5:10 p.m., the Mexican air asset were also granted permission to enter Belize airspace to support our operation. At 5:21 p.m., Belize primary radar confirmed contact with the suspected aircraft, approximately 6 nautical miles east of Carmelita Village, heading northeast. At 6:14 p.m., the aircraft landed in Newland Village.
And the key element was the U.S. and Mexico. Mexico, who provided air assets and route tracking. All players worked in unison to deliver one of the most successful drug plane cargo and crew busts. So despite the burned vehicle, the police, the BDF, and Coast Guard could still take a victory lap knowing they pulled off a rare trifecta. But If the early detection of the Customs Department was the linchpin to the entire operation, why were they not also afforded a seat at the head table? Additionally, while the Mexican pilots have been charged and remanded, why haven't the locals found near the drug plane been charged?
Based on the availability of evidence and the directive of the Director of Public Prosecution, there was insufficient evidence to charge a two Belizean national. However, they remain persons of interest and the investigation continues.
It's the only missing piece in an otherwise perfect policing picture. But the nagging question is, could the evidence be insufficient as a result of what was lost in the fire? Jaleesa Roberts, 7 News.
So far, the two Mexicans on the flight, Edgar Aguilar and Paul Venezuela, have been charged with drug trafficking-related charges and remanded to prison. Traffic slowed on the Philip Golson Highway this afternoon as the sidewalk outside of BEL's corporate headquarters became overrun by green shirts and picket signs. That was the Belize Energy Workers for Justice taking it up a notch in their campaign to get their severance in addition to their pension, which they claim they have not received. We spoke to their representative about their next move following today's protest.
So far, we have about 150 members who have come forward and are making a claim, but it could be more. You also have persons who have died, who this ruling has an impact, and so their members, their family members have to check and see if their loved ones, if they have the required amount of heirs required to get severance, and come forward and make a claim to the company. BL is saying that they don't owe us this severance, even though that the court has ruled. And we know from our agreements and from the labor law what is due to us. So we come here to state our narrative and to ask the company to do the right thing and stand by its employees that they used to give recognition for the years of service. We have these guys who is like technician, electricity workers, linemen, mechanics. When under BEB, there was not even this big infrastructure. Those guys worked and brought this company up to where it is now.
If the message doesn't come across to them, what actions do you plan to take next?
We continue this action. We continue for the support, but we also plan to go forward to the Labor Department, go forward to the government, and make our representation directly to them.
BEL has said that it has, quote, paid severance to its employees on their departure as required under the law. Furthermore, since 2007, the company has explicitly accounted for severance under its pension plan in accordance with the law. Going now to matters of public service, which fall in Usher's portfolio. Last week, we heard the president of the PSU, Dean Flowers, say that it is unconstitutional to put the immigration officers who were part of the sick out on leave because they handed in the proper sick leave documentation. Well, tonight, the Minister of Public Service is saying that there are different processes which should be followed on both sides, including a way to resolve grievances while the investigation is ongoing.
Well, I think that the investigation that is ongoing, there have no conclusions have been reached. So I think that's jumping the gun a little bit in terms of the conclusions that the president of the PSU reached. The fact of the matter is that you did have persons that were out sick, that they did provide their papers, etc., that they're supposed to provide in accordance with the regulations. Now the ministry at the local level, the Ministry of Immigration, is doing an internal investigation. If there is a grievance at any ministry level, there is a grievance procedure that should be followed. So if these persons had a grievance, whatever that grievance may be, the attempt is to resolve it at that ministry level first. If it can't be resolved at ministry level, it's then elevated to the Ministry of Public Service. If at that level that grievance is unable to be resolved, then of course you then go to the Public Service Commission. But what is important is that that process starts at or is completed, because I think it has already started, at the local, at the line ministry level. And then if the grievance is not able to be resolved there, then of course the Ministry of Public Service, as a human resource management organization of government, would then step in to see if we can resolve it.
Can you verify whether any laws were being broken or any policies were ignored during those immigration officers were placed on admin leave?
No administrative leave is part of the regulations. When an investigation is ongoing, that is a normal procedure, so that that investigation can be carried out in a free and open manner. So I don't see any laws being broken. Now, as the president of the PSU said, due process requires that if there is a grievance, if there is an issue that is found in an investigation, that those officers are given an opportunity to respond. And that is what we have to ensure, that you have to be given that opportunity to say your side. And then from there, if it can't be resolved, as I said, it then is elevated to the Ministry of Public Service.
And Usher also discussed the public sector's burgeoning wage bill. It's going up by a reported $17 million this year. The public service minister says it's not that much, but this was necessary. And here's why.
The wage bill has grown. I mean, it has grown because of the salary adjustment that was implemented October 1st, the first half of the salary adjustment. Again, this October 1st, 2026, the second half of that salary adjustment will be implemented. On April 1st, one of the frozen increments was unfrozen and was applied to the public officers. So you are seeing an increase in the wage bill in different areas. You are seeing more persons being hired. There are more projects. There are more departments opening up. There's a lot more happening on the Plan Belize. So you are seeing more persons working, but not to the levels that I think the senator quoted there. I certainly don't see that over 1,000 persons came on in the last fiscal year.
Early in the news, you saw Minister Henry Charles Usher say that the Ministry of Health and Wellness should have consulted properly with stakeholders before activating regulations on contraceptives. This morning on Sun Up on 7, the Director of Public Health and Wellness discussed those policies. She said that they have now spoken to the Pharmacy Association, which expressed its concerns.
When we actually spoke to the Pharmacy Association, they gave their concerns as well in terms of, and they've said that, you know what, we know that these are prescription medications, but XYZ, and they said that they felt it was important for patients to be informed now, and that is what we have been asking for many months. If you're dispensing medications, contraception, whatever it is, chronic disease meds, metformin, insulin, look at your patient, be a part of the consultation with us and see. You haven't seen a doctor for 10 years. This is time to see a doctor, because chronic diseases like diabetes, like high blood pressure, there are screenings that are available free of cost for that. And the same with contraceptives. And I just wanted to mention that talking to Ms. Burke after she left, we're on the same page when it comes to initiation. When a woman wants to start a contraceptive,
100%, yes.
We've got to empower women to go in to speak to your trained nurse, your doctor, because there are so many different contraceptives out there, and the initiation is key. And the opportunity at that initiation to do other aspects of sexual and reproductive health is so important, because we are focusing a lot, and the discussion a lot has been on this piece of paper. But a prescription does not need to be a piece of paper. We have electronic health systems. We have our rural health nurses doing the assessment. So our message was get assessed, be a part of the discussion. Tell your healthcare provider. Some women might say, I don't like to take pills. Well, you know, then the progesterone-only pill is not the best pill for you, because you will miss it. You know, so this is a big part of the discussion, and the opportunity to talk about cervical health, to talk about breast health, reduction of sexually transmitted infections, mental health. These are all things that you could do on the initiation.
7 News has confirmed that the Pharmacy Association will be having an emergency meeting tonight to discuss updates. The Ministry of Health and Wellness has partnered with CARFA to facilitate the Caribbean Tourism and Health Program in a 3-day training on advanced food safety. Participants, who also include representatives from up to 5 hotels, will engage in learning best practices on how to prevent the spread of foodborne illnesses. Jo Marie Lanza has this report.
Public health inspectors, hotel employees, and stakeholders have spent the last 2 days prepping to sit an exam to obtain a certificate in advanced food safety training, learning about the contingency and containment plans on how to prevent outbreaks of foodborne illnesses that could potentially harm the tourism industry. The Ministry of Health and Wellness has been working with CARFA in the past year on enhancing aspects of tourism and health, both on the ground and when clearing cruise ships.
So we have 2 simultaneous trainings happening this week with the CARFA team that came in from Trinidad. We have a training for cruise ship vessel clearance, and we are implementing a digital system which will make it much easier and more streamlined for ships to get their clearance for docking in Belize. And we also are doing an advanced food safety training. And in this advanced food safety training, this is a 5-year internationally recognized certification. And what we're doing is we're training both our public health inspectors, and we're invited industry to come as well. So what we're trying to do is across the board, we're trying to make tourism safer for Belize. We're trying to make the food industry safer in Belize to prevent outbreaks of foodborne illnesses, diarrhea, vomiting, those types of situations, and to increase the surveillance for our visitors that come, that if anything comes, that we can have a response very early on to avoid it from spreading outside of that location or to avoid it from spreading into our local population.
Seeing how important the tourism industry is within the Caribbean, CARFA has designed a program to ensure that industry professionals are prepared and well informed on how they can respond to and prevent outbreaks.
Right, so CARFA is the Caribbean Public Health Agency. So we are a regional public health agency that is mandated by heads of government to provide technical support to countries towards advancing, promoting health, preventing, disease spread, outbreaks, and so on. Belize is one of our 26 countries. So over the last, CARFA is about 14 years old. So with what we work directly with countries is providing that technical support for overall in terms of surveillance, outbreak response, emergency, building their capacity. So in this particular trip today, this week, we're all about advancing different capacities in Belize. One, in food safety, because of course that's so important. The training, that is not just about training, but it's an advanced training, but allows for international certification. So it means Belize gets on the map, in terms of persons certified against international requirements. The other is all about surveillance, cruise ship surveillance, making sure it can be done faster. So if you do it faster, it means that your tourism product is protected, as well as mass gatherings surveillance, which is for events. And Belize has a lot of nice events, but you want to ensure that persons are not getting sick, or if somebody gets sick, it's responded to quickly.
Jo Marie Lanza, 7 News.
And we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll tell you why Gabonese officials are in Belize to learn about the Blue Bond, plus the Belize Prize for Investigative Journalism. 7 News is nominated again this year, and we'll tell you who all made the cut. Don't go away.
This newscast is brought to you by Cellular World, your authorized Samsung distributor.
Wake up to positivity and inspiration. It's a fresh and diverse twist on your mornings. Tune in to Sun Up on 7 every weekday morning at 6:30 a.m. right here on your nation station, Channel 7. It's the morning show you don't want to miss.
Please, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
These charter means aren't
We're navigating along the coast.
This morning, the 2023 in the
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Cherie Wholesale,
And here's what's ahead for you on 7 News tonight.
We've got details of these and other stories in our newscast for tonight. Good evening. With your news, I'm Indra Craft.
Please, You're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7. Belize, you're watching the Nation Station, Channel 7.
Gabon, a small Central American nation on the Atlantic coast, is currently entering a blue bond agreement, and their conservation representatives are in Belize to learn more about how we did it. It's a learning exchange facilitated by the Nature Conservancy, and today Jo Marie Lanza stopped by the event as Gabon began their presentations in French, their official language. Here's what those interactions looked like.
Belize continues to be one of the leading countries in accomplishing conservation milestones in tandem with its blue bond debt restructuring. Belize's $364 million debt for nature swapped has been a blueprint for countries like Gabon, which are in the early implementation phases of their own blue bond swap. Gabon has sent a delegation of 9 representatives to Belize for a knowledge exchange. They are here to learn from Belize's experiences and glean best practices in achieving our 30 by 30 goal, protecting 30% of our ocean space by 2030.
So Belize is now 6 years into the implementation of its Blue Bonds program, and I believe that Gabon is 2 years into their implementation. And so it's an opportunity for them to learn from us as two nations that are very much interested in meeting the 30 by 30 goal, and also two nations whose blue space form an important part of our national economy and for livelihoods also. And so we have so far successfully delivered 5 milestones, and so it's for them to learn from us. Where were the successes? Where were the challenges? How do we help each other to become successful? Because the Blue Bonds program is a very important program globally, and what it has done is to show countries a way for us to finance these very important conservation targets and management targets for our ocean space. One of the areas that we've invested in Belize is looking at how we could be more effective in terms of monitoring our high seas fisheries. And that is one of the areas that Gabon wants to look at. Gabon has a very extensive fisheries that extends into their EEZ. And so they want to have an understanding of how their Blue Bonds program can also help them with effective monitoring and the fight against IUU fishing.
But in achieving these goals, Gabon also faces its own challenges in the implementation phase. Their representative gave us more details on what that has been like for them.
Gabon is a small country with 2.5 million of people living there, and we are surrounded with sea. And now, I think we have reached 26% of sea conservation, and the goal is to meet the 30 other percent. Belize, to us, it's one of the best examples of implementing Blue Bond in this country. I don't know how it works here. We will learn from this workshop. But in Gabon, one of the biggest challenges is to get the government really implemented into the project, and also make sure that we work closely with communities around our protected areas.
Both countries can benefit greatly from this exchange. TNC, who facilitated the delegation, says they had hoped to have other country participants as well.
Well, TNC is really the convener. We have closed 6 projects to date, some which includes the Caribbean, Gabon, Ecuador, which is our land nature bonds program. And there has really been an interest from all of these projects to meet in Belize. This was actually supposed to be a much larger event that would include the various countries. And so TNC's role is to connect these projects, connect our partners so that they could learn from each other. Although Belize is ahead of the game in a lot of the things that we're doing in terms of our marine spatial planning process, there is still so much we can also learn from our colleagues across the ocean like Gabon. So that is what we're convening this workshop, to learn from each other as well.
Marie Lanza, 7 News.
The semi-finalists for the 4th Annual University of Belize Prize for Investigative Journalism have been announced, and again, 7 News has made the shortlist. Jules Vasquez, Denver Fairweather, and Brian Castillo's work on Taken, the Budna abduction, and the police cover-up is one of the 3 semi-finalists. The others are Stella Maris' Child Drowning from Channel 5, and Marine Protected Areas Are Everybody's Business by independent journalists Andre Habet and Marco Lopez. The winners will be revealed at a ceremony on Saturday, 2nd May, at the House of Culture in Belize City. The National Meteorological Service of Belize, with support from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the National Hurricane Center, is hosting a 3-day storm surge workshop. Minister of Disaster Risk Management Henry Charles Usher says the workshop is critical as Belize remains vulnerable to hurricanes and coastal erosion.
Like any coastline that lies below sea level, it's vulnerable. In the Caribbean, we are victims of climate change. We have to be able to be resilient, be responsive to these issues, be responsive when we have a tropical cyclone, we have any flooding event. We know that the areas that are prone to flooding. So we have to be better able to model those, predict those, and be resilient in terms of the way we get back to our communities, get back to our homes, to our farms, to our businesses. And that is where this type of workshop, this type of modeling helps in that regard. What you're seeing is a coordinated effort between or among all of the institutions that deal with this National Hydrology Organization, the National Met Service, NEMO, the Ministry of Disaster Risk Management. We're coordinating efforts so that we don't duplicate what is happening, but we also are better able to share that information, be better able to communicate to the communities, communicate to the population, and be able to, as I said, be prepared in the event of what we know is increased storm activity in the region, and certainly storm surge is one for the low-lying areas.
The workshop continues tomorrow. When it comes to development of a new cruise port, the minister says that the Ministry of Disaster Risk Management is involved in the assessment of the project, especially when it comes to flooding.
So a component of NEMO is CIMO, which is the Belize City Emergency Organization, and they are certainly intricately involved in that, in those assessments in terms of the project that you spoke about. NEMO does play a role as well, but it's primarily through CIMO. But definitely any project that happens on the coastline, we have to look at the flooding aspects of it and how that would affect the residents in that area.
The public service will now be using biometric clock-in methods. The minister says this is to ensure that worker attendance is tracked more accurately and efficiently. Despite this, concerns have grown over the privacy of this biometric data. Usher discussed it.
What is going on is that for attendance purposes, persons walking into the building, if you walk into the treasury building and you're an employee there, you have to use your fingerprint to get in. It just shows when you arrive, when you leave. So it was for those purposes that those devices were put into government offices. So it's an attendance record. In the past, it used to be in a logbook. We're moving towards more the use of technology, and we're better able to monitor the public officers when they attend, when they arrive, and when they leave. So it's not about biometrics. It's more about attendance and leaving.
How is that data kept and handled, though, to ensure privacy, and not to say that, okay, we're a partner with the US in terms of biometrics in other areas, and they will end up with our personal data?
So you have to remember that whenever we sign on to any type of online platform, our information is put out there. I'm sure you have Facebook and Instagram and everything else. That information is freely shared by those platforms. We don't even know that those platforms share that information, but we see it when it comes to the algorithms. We see it when it comes to marketing, and certain products are pushed towards persons. Why? Because they monitor the websites or the Instagram posts that person could look at. So information in the digital world is out there.
And even though this is being implemented in other ministries, the Eleanor Hall building has had it for some time now, which Usher says both the ministry and the union missed.
I think that the PSU kind of missed that one at Treasury. I agree that when Treasury implemented that at the Eleanor Hall building, not even public service knew about it, to be honest with you, but we found out about it. And I believe that it's the right way forward. It's easier to have this attendance register being monitored and being effective digitally, but we have to centralize it. So yes, we do have to make sure that we involve the union in these discussions. But I do think that both of us missed it when it happened at Treasury.
And that's all we have for you for our newscast tonight. Thanks for watching. With your news, I'm Indira Craig. Remember, you can find a full transcript of the news at 7newsbelize.com and see the streaming video on our Facebook page. Have a pleasant evening. Join me back here tomorrow at 6.